please remember to leave a like, a comment, share the video about, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you. Well, isn't this just fantastic? A little over 1 year ago, I made a video on Fousey'S. Fousey is an interesting individual who goes through a repetitive cycle of events. These usually center around him invariably ending up getting humbled to reset to start again. We're apparently at that stage again, so I thought we'd go through some recent events with him because, as a fascinating individual, I thought, yes, let's catch up with the Fousey. Someone who could, if he committed, be better, but is so desperate to surround himself with those that constantly elevate him in his head. It's normally considered self-esteem. With him, it's entirely ego-based, that he is unable to improve himself as a man. So as a creature of interest, he, from time to time, because of his repetitive cycle, gets caught up in controversy. Now, if you don't know who he is, I'm going to link a video I did on him 1 year ago. By all means, go check it out. Fousey has been around on the internet for a long time, and did achieve on YouTube considerable success. He really did. When he had done a music festival, though, and it didn't go so well, I thought perhaps that would humble him enough to stop with the antics. More recently, he is an IRL streamer on, I believe, Kick. Now, if we're going to go to Kick for a minute, we're going to go look at a metric of interest. The metric of interest is bot streaming. Now, this is where you will get your numbers on Kick will look amazing. Twitch is the same. You'll have these massive numbers, and it makes the streamer look like they're more important than they are. And then you see how many legitimate viewers they have. Dr. Damon had tweeted this out, saying that Kick streaming is cooked. Look at this. I could bot my stream tenfold for $2 a month easily, but I don't do it because I know what making it means as a hacker. I could do it in an instant. Followed up with a tweet, Fousey and other streamers have been added to this list. This is bad. Fousey have 57,218 live viewers, but his legitimate viewers were 6,633. That's not good. No, that's really not good. Of course, at the same time, 6,000 legitimate viewers is fantastic. Why do you need to inflate your numbers to such a degree? It doesn't benefit you monetarily, it just makes you look like, oh, you're rolling in it already, I guess I don't need to be here. Oh, he must be putting on quite a show. What's Fousey doing? He's getting kissed by Action Man and freaking out.
Shit. That's fucking wild. Bro, I love you, bro. Why are you grabbing my nipple? Dog!
Don't do it.
I swear to God, wallahi, on my mom, I will sock you.
My bad, bro.
As my brother, I will sock you.
I'm sorry, I love you, bro.
I love you too. But if you kiss me in the back of the neck while grabbing my nipples one more time, that's not love, that's gay.
I just want to highlight this because I wanted to stream on Kick more, but I noticed when I was streaming there, even though it said when I was starting out, I had like 15, 20 viewers, there were only 2 people in my chat. This bot problem got memed to high hell in Kick's earlier days, where some streamers were getting hundreds of thousands of live viewers, but doing nothing and earning nothing. That's a point. It's all well and good earning 95% of the subscription fee, but if you're not actually getting any viewers, you're not earning those subscriptions. Therefore, you're not making any money. For someone like Fousey, he needs the money to continue to go out and put on these IRL live shows for the fans. Now, after last year's video, where many called him out, Keemstar especially, called him out for surrounding himself with people who were such a negative influence on him, people that he just constantly gave to and never really got anything back. They were clearly plastic friends. Fousey dived further into live streaming on Kick and has now jumped into the ballpark of the likes of Adin Ross, Action Man, and many others. Not going to judge who he streams with, more going to judge his behaviour because of how he acts when he is surrounded by anyone, the kind of person he becomes before he ends up getting humbled. I mentioned Adin Ross because, although I'm almost certain he paid for this, he decided on one of his streams, with his security present, because that's a lot of the Kick streamer IRL ones anyway, they have to have security around them behaviour, to approach Adin's ex to ask her out.
Oh, there she is, There's your A-Dick. Hi, Demi. How was your dream hack going? When'd you get here? Okay, well, my heart's beating 1,000,000 miles a minute. I don't know why. It's probably because I'm sick and I just ran. I have a day planned for us if you want to say fuck DreamHack and go and stream together. I got a fire-ass day. You down? Let's get it.
I'm sure no one cringed at the thought of that. By the way, because it tickles me to no end, we skip ahead a couple days, and he's in the DMs of another streamer called Nova Neon, who I believe got recently accepted into the Kick Incentive Streamer Program thing. Creator Incentive Program? I think that's what it's called. Congratulations to you for not only getting into that program, but also having Fousey in your DMs. By the way, just a point of interest, I didn't realise how young Fousey was. I thought he was in his mid-40s. Not even joking, I genuinely believed he was a lot older. Just a random point. I had to Google him quickly just to get some of his social links. And there's a wiki. He's 4 years younger than me. This explains a lot, yes. Now on the 4th of October, Keemstar tweeted out a 7-minute long video explaining FouseyTube. And there are parts of that video I want to now play and go through with you. Because this is one of those times where Keemstar's not just shouting expletives at the camera. He is calmly delivering a very good and concise point, series of points in fact, about what and who Fousey is, and why he is the way he is, and why it's important he gets sodding help. Perhaps why he's also not built for the online space, since he always ends up crashing hard. In the exact same way every single time he gets humble.
Last night I put out a tweet talking about Fousey, and some people responded to that saying that, you know, I was kicking him when he was down, or, you know, I was making fun of him or something, or hating on him. No, that was not the point of my tweet.
This is the tweet in question. Fousey is just a horrible person who's obsessed with himself only. All the people around him are not his friends, just people he's using at the moment. Going through his history, you can see so many examples of this on a yearly basis. He has a new crew, new friend group every year, then they're gone. I'm sick of watching people get caught up in the concern for Fousey when he doesn't actually care about anyone. Not his team, not his friends, not other creators, he only cares about himself. I know him better than anyone leaving comments here, and trust me, his number one issue in his entire life that's constantly causing him problems is that Fousey is obsessed with himself. That's his problem. I'm not going to bother reading the replies to this tweet or these two tweets from Keemstar, because most of them just went in on Keemstar, ignoring that he's actually right here. Because some people can't accept that when someone you hate is right, they are that. They have to find a reason to dunk on him as well.
The point of my tweet was to explain the problem. There is a problem with Fousey, and this is why he keeps experiencing a lot of this in his life, this negative, horrible stuff in his life. See, I know Fousey better than anyone. I know him inside and out very, very well. I've launched companies with him, you know. I was his friend, and I'll get to that, for years.
What's interesting now, as an observer of other creators like Fousey, is that when someone says they've been friends with Fousey, knowing what he is like now, it does become harder to believe. That's not to say the friendship wasn't real at a point. It's just hard to believe that he was once someone you could regard as a friend. Does that make sense? It's not a shot, it's just an observation about who Fousey has become, and what was real, and when the descent really began.
The issue with Fousey is always acting, okay? Fousey doesn't know who Fousey is at all. He doesn't know who he is. He's always playing a role. He's always acting. And there are 4 stages of Fousey. Stage 1 is humble Fousey. Fousey is making friends with a cameraman, making friends with a new manager, making friends with smaller creators, and he's building a team to success, right? Every one of these relationships is not real.
When one portrays a character so much, especially as an IRL streamer, the blurred line between reality and fiction gets thinner and thinner, to the point that the fiction becomes the reality, which is dangerous for mental health, very dangerous. There are conditions where this is normally acknowledged. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to say what any of them are, but as I believe Keemstar is right here, because of observation over many years patterns of behaviour, just not a doctor, I cannot say it, there is certainly enough evidence to lend credence to those beliefs that Fousey is just a character, even though there is a reality here somewhere.
Fousey is on stream and he'll be saying, oh, shout out to the cameraman or shout out to this person. And he'll be praising all these lower people that are like basically his team at the time. Okay, loves them. All right, is humble, is always giving thanks to them, shouting them out.
I wish more streamers were like that. Grateful for what they have as opposed to entitled. Sadly, the bigger the creator, the less likely they are to be that anymore, because that line of humble and employee becomes more prevalent. And I understand that, but you should still be grateful.
Then we move on to stage 2, which is now Fousey is finding some success online, and now he starts seeking friendships with very, very popular people. He starts obsessing over the Adin Rosses and the Sneakos, and whoever's on top at the time, that's who he starts obsessing with, and that's who he's trying to be friends with, okay?
That reminds me an awful lot of that music festival I mentioned near the start of this video, where he was desperately trying to get, was it Drake? I think it was, to perform at this music festival. That wouldn't have looked out of place at a banger racing track as a bit of cabaret, maybe even some karaoke. I can understand wanting to have those bigger than you in your life so you can then enhance yourself. But if all you ever do is seek that, you yourself will never know what it feels like to be that. It sounds like a relationship where there's always one reacher and one settler. He's always reaching because he can never settle. And I get the be hungry, stay humble thing, right? Problem is, the humble's an act and he's not really hungry, he's desperate.
During this stage, he'll make some mistakes and he'll start throwing his team under the bus. He'll f up something, he'll do something wrong, say something wrong, he'll make a mistake and he will blame the cameraman, blame the manager, and this stage, it's all those lower people that I was praising who were the absolute best. They are the fucking problem now.
Now this might be because I've never achieved the level of success he has, reached those higher echelons within YouTube, Twitch, Kick, Rumble, wherever it is he frequents. Kick these days. Didn't he sell his YouTube channel? But I've never understood wanting to blame others for my mistakes, because the buck ultimately stops with me. Maybe I've never earned the levels of income he has earned. Maybe I've never been on that plateau, right? There are levels to this game after all, but going into it and blaming everyone else for what I do seems, well, it falls in line with his character, doesn't it? Even if I do think it to be something absolutely trite as feck.
Then we get to July 15th, full manic, like what you saw last night stage, right? Where Fousey is crashing out and Fousey believes that he's Superman and he's the best streamer alive and he changed the streaming game and all that. All this stuff, you can look back 5 years ago and see the same cycle repeating.
If you want fantastic proof of that, the video I did 1 year ago is the perfect demonstration of it. I'm not even joking, this is true. At the point I'd made that video, he had a different group to what he has now around him. He believed himself to be unassailable, untouchable, even when swatted, even when badgered in public. He believed he was the creme de la creme. This is the same guy who got chinned by Alex Wasabi because he had all the stamina of an infant at 2 weeks trying to stand up.
And then of course we have the final stage where Fousey is full on depressed. He hates himself and he disappears online for months on top of months. And, you know, during that time, he's just reflecting at, you know, all the bad mistakes that he made and how he's a bad person and and he's at his absolute low. And then he realizes the only way to get out of this, because everyone's worried about him and wants to see him do good again, is he needs to make a new team, a new cameraman, a new manager, right? And he needs to go on stream and come back and be like, oh, these people are great. I couldn't do this without them.
There are a few creators I make videos on at the end of the year, all of whom follow a very particular cycle of events within their life. All are roughly around the same age as Fousey. Humans are, you filthy, mud-dwelling individuals, creatures of habit, and that habit reflects in what you choose to do to reinvigorate yourself as a creator. I don't get it. I don't understand how you can willingly continue to make that, but then at the same time, I do get why it happens, especially if everything is an act, which many of these people I make videos on are an act, a character, a persona. With Fousey, he rinse repeats, and he makes plenty from streaming to be able to take that time off to, quote, reflect, to start again. Apparently, though, these amazing people he surrounds himself with are so amazing, that they corrupt him quicker than one of the gods of chaos. Can you just get to the part where Nurgle blesses you, because that arc would be so much more entertaining, Fousey. Now, Keemstar goes on for a bit more, and it's a really good video. I'll link the tweet with the video in down below. Fousey did apologise to Adin Ross, because he's chasing Adin Ross, surpassed Adin Ross with viewers, sure, but did issue an apology to him, whilst simultaneously making things all about himself.
10 o'clock, Monday, October 7th, the 1 year of the Palestinian it's been happening. I'm my old self. No longer gonna be the man who I've been and make it okay and blame it on content. That's immature. Maybe I could do that if I was in my 20s. I'm 34.
It's a very odd thing to take an anniversary like this and make it about you and the change in... You know, it doesn't... Optics aren't... No. I should probably play your apology to Adin Ross before we finish this video, because apparently this is a humble Fousey coming back. Alright.
Adin Ross, you never had to invite me to Miami last year. You never had to give me $100,000 after rehab. You never had to check up on me throughout the year like you did. You never had to tell Eddie to not get rid of my deal. You never had to invite me to Toronto. And you've never, ever, for even a second, been a bad person to me. What I did, how I treated you, your community, your business, your platform, the city you're in, your team, everything was wrong. And again, never have to talk to me again. I get that. You have to reap what you sow. The choices have consequences. I said that to somebody the other day, and I'm saying it to myself. I f***ed around, I found out. I got blackballed. It's my fault. I don't give a f*** about that. I'll be good on my own. I've been good since 2011. But I just want you to know that it's going to take a lot of work for me to forgive myself and let go of the hate that I have for myself for what I said and what I did to you. Most loyal, most humble, most respectable young kids I have ever met in my life. You're Jewish. I'm Palestinian. You still love me all the same. Thank you for allowing me on Kick. Thank you for allowing me into your home in Toronto. And thank you for letting me say your name this one last time, even though you told me not to, but I had to say sorry, my brother. I love you guys so much.
Part of me can't tell whether the cycle renews before the end of the year on purpose, whether the entire act is done by design for short-term gratification, which is how many creators operate. They're not interested in a long play because what's in the moment is all that matters to them. Think of it like pro wrestling, where in America they focus heavily on these individual repetitive spots to get the crowd at that moment to react that way, right? As opposed to building something, which the WWE takes a lot of crap, but they did at least play a long-term game when it came to Roman Reigns' reign, right? We can argue and talk about that all day if you want, but not in this video. My point still stands about spots, and that is how a lot of streamers operate. They want those spots. It's why they have security and why they aggro some of the IRL ones, especially Jack. You're an exceptional one at that, aren't you now, you little bish? Members of the public who want nothing to do with their live streams. Fousey's a part of that, to an extent, but he's too busy chasing coattails of others that have helped him, or fallen out of good graces with. Whether he's genuine or not, no one can ever tell, Fousey included.